thousands of euros spilt all over this car weren't meant for cocaine or heroin, but for this glass vial of cesium-135, a radioactive taste of what this man, Valentin Grosso, said he could supply. The next exchange was to be for enough radioactive material to make a dirty bomb.
Valentin vorbea.
He asked him from the very beginning, "Who do you represent?" Our agent said, "Man, they're hot shots. They're from the Islamic State."
Last February's bust was the latest example of a thriving nuclear black market in the former Soviet Union. AP has uncovered 4 instances in the last 5 years where members of criminal networks in Moldova were caught trying to sell radioactive material. 4 years earlier, an informant for Constantin Malic's Moldovan police unit was approached by a man looking to sell uranium.
They could make one of those dirty ones, you know, make a dirty bomb if you've heard of such things. The level of radiation is high, and these explosions spread material over a territory. Radiation level is high, it's bad for the health, that's the method.
The blurred face is TEODOR CHETRUS, a former KGB informant working for Alexander Agenko, a citizen of both Russia and the Ukraine, known in the criminal underworld as the Colonel. CHETRUS was his middleman.
He
said multiple times that these substances had to get to must have a real buyer from Islamic States to make a dirty bomb, that they will be the most interested in buying the radioactive bomb, and that the American state must be annihilated.
The colonel sent his wife and CHETRUS to sell a sample of radioactive material to a man they believed to be an intermediary for a buyer in the Middle East, but was really an undercover officer. In a search of CHETRUS' house, investigators found he might also have had a real buyer, a Sudanese doctor, Yusuf Fazul Ibrahim. CHETRUS would be sentenced to only 5 years in prison.
Highly enriched uranium is of particular concern because if terrorists acquire HEU, they will essentially have overcome one of the most difficult obstacles on the pathway to make what we call an improvised nuclear device, or IND.
Politics and infighting forced Malik and most of his team to leave the police force by May. He said the Moldovan authorities are more concerned with good PR and impressing their FBI benefactors than finding the source of the radioactive material. And Moldovan authorities did not immediately respond to a request to comment on Malik's claims, but said earlier they understand the threat is still very real.
Until the head of the criminal group is sentenced and jailed, until we know for sure where those substances seized in Europe came from and where they were going to, only then we will be able to say for sure the danger is no longer present.
CHETRUS' 5-year sentence was supposed to run into next year, but he was released in December, serving barely 3 years for trying to sell the materials for a nuclear bomb to the enemies of the United States. David Martin, The Associated Press.